And it's not always going to be an urgent petition. That's language that we use here. It's really a dependent petition. We use the language urgent, but if we want to be generic and be true to the law, it should just say dependent.
Well,
An urgent petition is a dependent petition.
No,
We
I
just
was-
call it something else.
no, I was just
That's the same thing.
yeah, no, I was just saying seek court involvement,
Seek court involvement.
and that's it.
They either file for a dependent petition or obtain an OPC.
See, right, that's it.
Because there's reasons outside of a pattern of previous reports that would warrant an urgent petition. I mean, there's a lot of different, a dependent petition, let me use the right language too. It's not just that. I'm afraid sometimes when we put things in, like this is the box, and if there's anything outside the box,
Right.
then we're not doing it. So I'd rather have it after consultation with chain of command, seek guidance from the law department in seeking either an OPC or filing a dependent petition. But I also think we need to highlight that you need to talk with your chain of command. And it's in consultation with the law department that these decisions are made. You have enough for an OPC or email.
So that is consult with
You also might be seeking a petition to compel cooperation.
what I was thinking. Right.
Yeah, it may not be either one.
Right. And you may deem the child unsafe because you could clearly identify safety threat number 13. And so we could deem a child unsafe and then have petition to compel cooperation.
Oh,
What's
family.
the wording?
Right. So the judge may say you don't have enough for an OPC, but we can compel cooperate.
Leaving a jurisdiction or
Right.
overtly
Right.
something CYD.
Right. So
investigation.
overtly avoiding engaged involvement,
Yeah.
refusing access to the child, and all these things.
Yeah, we
you
just
could
had-
identify a safety threat. But the challenge is that what do we do next? Because the judge may or may not issue an OPC because they can't tell you that the child is on. You can't tell the child's unsafe. You can just tell you I can't say that he is safe. And
Right.
then there's this back and forth and tug of war that happens.
Yeah, we just.
I was questioning it too.
Huh?
It didn't look right. I'm looking at it like, yeah. I thought I was like, wait, if this one.
So for processes to the top, I would just write seek court involvement, and then down here you can delineate between kind of what the choices might be after consultation with your chain of command and all.
So you actually want to seek advice from chain of command.
Right.
What's that?
We were trying to get you to make the decision.
It's really not worth it, guys.
I was like,
Yeah, they'll tell you when they get there.
Well, they do say chain of command.
Absolutely. No, we didn't talk. They're talking about the things that
no,
you
we were
omitted.
trying to change things, and we were waiting for you guys. Friends, like, yeah, maybe we should wait.
Just wait. Wait,
Why are you waiting for us?
There you go. We collaborate with our chain of command.
Exactly. We worked it out.
They wanted me to omit, I guess, concluding safety assessment. I said, well, someone to get back into the
And as soon as I walk in, I can why did that there?
Yeah.
It's not like I
And
get
then
a
the first
seasonal
thing you
bonus
said
or
was,
anything.
This is gonna have to go. Yeah.
See, I told you I had your back. Got you.
Okay. What else? Good.
Sort of, kind of. I guess I'm playing with words here. Forgive me. Shall place with kin. The child is in DHS custody. That's more or less the same thing. If DHS obtains an OPC.
Where you at?
The less box.
Right, but also in the middle box, I think we should take out all that language because that doesn't even make any sense.
Which box are you talking
That
I'm
middle.
talking about this one. All of this is almost case specific, and it's really not in capturing all the stuff that we might observe. For example, a pattern of previous reports does not automatically indicate that the child is unsafe and does not automatically rise to the level of needing a dependent petition to be filed. So I think we should be careful.
Take it all out.
Are
Yeah.
you saying that just because what we've got makes it look like is too small amount of work.
That's
No,
that's
I
an
see
example of one scenario, but there's
Right.
thousands
So many
of
things,
scenarios.
Right.
So it's misleading. It's misleading.
Exactly.
So do you think seek court involvement is,
Sufficient.
right,
Yeah.
is that
Seek
like
court involvement after you,
enough?
So
after consultation
with the chain of command.
and law
And
department.
law department. Yep. Period. I mean, if you
Right.
want to put examples of court involvement, you can say examples or court
Dependent
involvement
petition,
including,
OPC.
court involvement including
Including-
the filing of a dependent petition,
Or
or request
obtaining
for an order
OPC.
protective custody, or an order to compel cooperation. They can be kind of these are the things you can ask for, but the process, because you're talking about the process, not the
Right,
product.
right,
Right?
So, right. So you
So
can
I
say this.
think-
You can leave it as an example, but you have to make it clear this is just an example. So,
Right.
Right.
I think that's gonna be the same.
But
for
I
the
think
next box.
the box below it.
That's the part
Here?
we want to.
Yeah.
And you want all this wording out.
Yep.
No. Yes.
Mhm.
Sorry.
And then you just want to say examples would be
Examples would be filing a dependent petition,
Or-
requesting an order of protective custody, because it's request, it's not, I mean, you obtain one, but you request it. It's
Right.
Right? And then,
And
in
the
order-
detail behind it, there's so many
Right.
different things that you could
Exactly.
that the detail behind
Right.
it is just too misleading. It makes you
right,
think that this is all that happens.
right.
Yeah.
And also, it's only telling you one scenario. and there's
Yeah, one of
thousands.
many, and it's kind of like misleading. This is always
Yeah.
the same. And it's like,
Right.
no, there's so many.
Right, and if we're talking
Yeah.
about processes, we want to emphasize discussions with your chain of command and with law. That's our emphasis, that's a process,
Mhm.
not the product.
Got it.
I kind of like the last bullet. It says, child is transported to DHS child
That's
care
what I just said.
and signed into intake creation and shotgun process.
Yeah, that's how good
That almost happens like that.
Where are you going to sleep tonight? On the second floor.
Exactly.
And consult with the law department.
Does that go with here with
Yeah,
court
so
involvement?
take advice from the chain of command and the law department,
Oh.
and the law department.
And yes, ACS, right?
Yeah.
ACS law department.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't mean to be picky, but I know.
yeah. And then, like I said, those are products of that discussion, or potential responses.
It's responses.
So potential responses include, the filing
Yeah.
of the dependent petition, etc.
And seek court involvement is.
Well, that's how we
That's
see
it.
court involved, that's a process. That's how
That's
we do
it.
it.
Right. And after obtain OPC, or what's the petition? Motion to compel cooperation. You can put that prior to dependent petition, or before,
Right.
after, middle,
So-
whatever.
So,
Well, those are
my
examples
recommendation
of
is
petitions.
seek court involvement is the header. Speak with your chain of command and the ACS law department, and basically it could result in the filing of a dependent petition. Outcomes could be filing a dependent petition,
Or obtain
OPC, or a fraud. Because the header should be seek court involvement, because that's
Right.
ultimately what we're doing after we have those consultations.
Okay, so we could even rewrite this thing a little bit later, because I don't know what it is, ways to do it.
So.
I'm trying to get to the page. I don't know what happened.
Oh, here we
we
go. So outputs, basically. Liaison, depending on the time of day, is not necessarily doing all of the clearances anymore. Supervisors and above have access to CWIS, so they should be able to do their own child line clearances. Criminal clearances will still be with the liaison.
And where, okay, here. And we do also have a separate liaison section in there as well as screening.
And what's the liaison child care process? What's that?
or that long drawn out process where you
No,
gotta.
it's a liaison childcare. What is that?
Where are you looking?
The child care
process
process.
is output. I
Yeah.
don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is? You gotta sign out the kid. You got.
Right, but what does the liaison unit have to do with
It's a liaison child.
That's them.
it? The liaison unit doesn't do
They don't take care
childcare.
of the child.
Do they do some sort of like
No.
background check on?
Well, the child care,
No.
but are they under the liaison
They're-
people?
No, they're not under liaison people. It's IARS, but it's
Okay.
not under
See,
liaison
what-
unit. When I think of liaison unit, I think of the Maris's people.
Right.
The
Can-
Maris's people do the child.
Can we just jump back a half a sentence? It says the child is in. Granted, we got the OPC, right? Child is in DHS custody. It doesn't matter whether it's with kin or traditional foster care. DHS has custody. Types of types of placement would be placement with kin or foster care.
So along the same lines as with the seeking court involvement, that's a header, and then
Yeah.
the secure custody is a header.
Right.
And then these are the options.
So, what are you saying the header should be?
I guess child is in DHS custody.
Well,
That's the
she's got
header. That should be the header. Child is in DHS custody. Types of placement options would be kin, foster care.
So you want her to erase liaison childcare process, right? Because she's got that her child is in DHS custody.
Right. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Are you doing a separate processes for when the child comes into care, though? Is that what
I
you're
think
doing?
that's what they're saying. I think this is what they're saying is when they're at a place and there's a kin willing to take the child, that they do all that there
But then,
versus
There where?
removing wherever they're at. So
At the
the
home
kid's
in the
home.
field.
Well, we do that. I mean, am I being dumb? We do that anyway.
Okay, but I think this
Right.
is what they're trying to
But
say.
they're
They're
trying to
trying to
spell it out.
separate the two. Whereas if you don't have a kin, they have to actually take the child out, bring them into DHS, put them in the child care, do CRU or whatever else they do to find the child a placement. Does that make any sense or no?
Not really.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But
it's a matter of location,
yeah.
not the process.
Liaison childcare process, is that Izuma's unit? Is that what?
No.
No?
I don't know.
That's
what
the
they
child
decide.
care people downstairs.
That's what I think they
Yeah,
say.
I
I
don't
got
know
you,
what
okay.
I think that's the child care people downstairs, but they're calling them liaisons. I don't know. I'm not sure where the language came from.
But it seems to be like, all right, so the process, if we're doing the process, right, the child is unsafe, we decide that the child is unsafe, that's a safety analysis. We seek advice from, our law department, and we seek court action, and then the output is the child goes, that we seek via custody. That's the end result, right, via custody. This is a whole different process. We get custody, then what do we do?
Right.
And then what? Right?
Mhm.
So really, this guy should be starting on another screen with the inputs. The child, we have custody, right? Now that we have the kid, now what? Right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, okay, but let's see if we have that. Maybe that we're gonna see that as we go forward. So let's keep that in our mind and go over the next couple of screens, and maybe it will become clear. And we'll find out that we actually have that, and then if not, we can jump back to this.
No, that's not true.
Okay, which one?
That last one, I was reading pretty fast. If kinship caregiver is not available, notifies the court unit represent whatever, to start the OPC process. No. We're getting the OPC whether grandmom is there or not. We just want the kid to go with grandma because she's the grandma. But if she's not there, we still got to get the OPC.
So either way,
We got to get the OPC.
Because we're not talking about safe with a comprehensive plan. We could have safe with a plan and have kinship provider or identified. Grandmom's already caring for the kid, but now we're getting to the point we need to make a real decision on whether or not there's dependency and whether or not mom's going to try to go take off with the kid. So our response is going to be different depending. But if we're talking about truly unsafe, we're the OPC battle already.
Right, that decision was already made.
Yeah.
Because the OPC is not to say the child is going to live with grandmom. The OPC is to say mom and dad can't take
You're
care of the
removed
kid.
from that
Right.
household.
Right.
So,
And then we select grandmom if she's a
If she's
viable
right, if she's
Okay.
available.
So let's change this to notifies court to start the OPC process, and then the subsequently part would be either contact the police or
Not me.
leave the
That's
child.
not.
Well, we don't
That's too deep.
necessarily contact the police to transport the child.
Or I was going to say
We don't need
that
that.
would be would that be only one of many options at that point? That's what I was
Um,
trying to say.
Oh, come on, that's too drawn. Like that's
Well,
drawn.
The only way that we have police transport is when we don't have the legal right to do so. If we have an OPC, then we have the legal right to do so. So we would not necessarily be using police unless there's a threat of harm, right, to the worker or to the team or whatever. Then we request assistance.
So
But
that's okay. So that's probably the last resort, kind of.
right.
Right.
Or it might be the first step, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's very complicated because it could be that the kid's home alone. We don't have enough time to get an OPC. It's if the kid's in a dangerous situation. We'd have law enforcement bring to us, and then we get the OPC.
Right. Right.
Probably the hotline gave me that information.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. So it's not cookie cutter. Like there's nothing that we do is black and white. Not one
Right.
thing.
Right.
You know. Right? The only black and white thing we have is we put a black pen to write on a white piece of paper. Other than that, everything else.
Everything else.
Right.
Figure out what. How,
Let me know what
Right.
Let me know what happens when you get out. Other than that, I won't tell you. Yeah, I don't like it because I'm just going to be contacted because that can be taken out.
Again, this is speaking to one specific scenario or potential scenario versus thousands.
And if you caregiver,
I guess I don't understand though, and maybe you guys can help me. Why are we mapping out social work processes in these meetings versus looking at what data collection elements we need?
we
Well,
will do that.
that's the next step. And actually, I was thinking that we would be finished with this review, and it would take a little bit longer because I think we've run this process and did that. So what I would suggest is we know that just like the slide before, we kind of know what we want to change here. Instead of just wording it now, let's leave the general concept to us guys to fix these slides. Let's go through and look at the rest of them and see if there are similar issues, and then let's go back and start focusing on what we would want that system to look
I mean that's fine, but I guess I still don't, and I can appreciate that, but I still, I guess I don't understand the purpose.
The purpose is if we understand the process as designers of a system, we will be able to write a functional specification document, which basically says this is what you do, and now we have to figure out a way to help you do it better. So it really is the first step in the classic design of a system.
So where do decision-making points that are made in the chain of command factor in? Because the thing is that I could tell you that I'm going to make decision A, but then I get some more information and I decide that B is the better way to go. So
Right, but at some point you have to record this, all of these things, and your system is going to be where you're going to do that, right? And we had mentioned and talked earlier on, we had noted spots where you collect information and how you put it. So understanding your process is also important when designing the system, to know when to make things available for you to put things, and if you need to change them, what kind of flexibility will that system need?
So
Things like that. And then we will also be discussing like forms you need to fill out, which you'll be doing online, things like that, correct?
but the thing is, when we fill out the form, it's different than what we need on the form. Right? So I
Okay.
appreciate that you want to understand what we do, but I think there's no way to really capture it and do it justice.
I think what you do is a lot more
You know.
complicated than because exactly what you got here is an incredibly complicated piece, which is why I'm thinking let's go through what we have left. Let's say okay, we do kind of see what's wrong with the current state concepts. let's finish it up. So we get an idea. So it's a review. Let's make our review what it was supposed to be. Let's finish it up. Take a break, and then I'm going to start a different process where we're going to talk more about the kinds of things that you do when you're at the system. And then we're going to address some of these questions, which are, well, how do you start, especially in how do you get these things? How are you informed? Are you informed if someone send you an email and those kinds of things? Because we need to know that, because if that happens, and maybe it's a different way, it could happen in the future. And then we can look at the points where you get frustrated, not out in the field, but when you get back and have to do things. Those kinds of points we'll be talking about.
No, like I said, I do appreciate it. I'm just a little worried that we're spending too much time talking about things that don't necessarily be addressed in the operations system you guys are building. And what happens is, when you talked about that, the facts, they didn't vet this stuff, they did. We talked about the same kind of stuff we're talking to for 3 years, and then we didn't actually get what we wanted. So I don't want to be, I don't want to be negative, but at the same time, I really don't want to spend a lot of time talking about kind of what we as child welfare experts are doing day in and day out. What I would like to focus on is how we can have something that's user-friendly, captures the data we need to capture, does it in a way that's easy for us to operationalize.
Yes.
But if we talk about when do we get a court order, when do we not get a court order, who do we call, I would rather not talk about that.
I'm actually.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand,
I'm
but we have
actually-
to understand your
Right.
business first.
Mhm.
We really do. Yeah,
Right.
it's like little steps, and then we build on it.
Right,
Um,
but I am on your page, that's why I'm thinking, we know what's wrong with the things that we just looked at. Let's, instead of spending time fixing them now,
Okay.
leave that to us to fix these slides. Let's look at the rest of them, so we can move on, and so we have 2 more meetings, so,
Yeah, and
right, jumping ahead, 2 more meetings. So we're
Very
going
good.
to
I thought it was clamped down to one more meeting.
Well, we're
All right.
trying to press it, but we've got 2 more
Okay.
scheduled, at which point we will hopefully get through all of those things and address your concerns
Okay.
for the new system, so that it will serve you better.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is important just to have a good review, so we have a sense of what's going on. I think we are getting bogged down in a few details today.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with you. So let's see if we can get through this a little bit faster, and then take a break. And then we'll start looking at where you start using the system in this process, and what it currently is doing for you today, what parts of it are driving you crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that's when I want to get there.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going there. I promise. I promise.
All right, Skip.
It's okay.
well, we thought we had this vetted already. But
Well,
apparently not.
The problem, and I don't know if I know I was at one meeting a billion years ago, but that was probably about 9 months ago, if not more.
That was just the initial
Yeah.
gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why you got some team members here who can help.
And this is good. This is good. But I think I am on your page that we should try to get through this a little bit faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it.
You can take that out. The plan is
Which
one?
uploaded.
Huh?
Take that out. The second bullet was
Yeah,
it 20?
It's 72 hours.
Let's see.
So
Yeah,
2 hours.
It's 72 hours. So it's hour for hour. That's important.
Okay.
Is it the 10th business day or calendar day? Is it-
It's
Calendar. No calendar for supervision. It's calendar.
Oh,
calendar.
yeah, but I thought it was like referring to the safety assessment.
They did say it was calendar. I mean, business
Business
You have
days.
10 business days to approve the safety assessment. So in the third bullet, it says responsible for uniform, it's within 10 business days.
Did I miss something? The safety assessment form triggers teaming unit process. Did I miss something? Did I miss a meeting? What was I saying?
So it says within 6 days of the preliminary safety assessment, Intake worker must complete a structured progress note in
That's
CMS.
not
It's
true.
supposed to be within 6 days
So
of
the
the
contact.
visit. It's not 6 days of the assessment. That would bring us out to 9 days.
So it's at the
So
visit.
it's 6 days of the visit.
6 business days, right?
Yep, 6 business days.
Right, of the face-to-face contact.
How should this be referred to? Face-to-face contact or of the visit?
Face-to-face
The face contact, I think that's what's in the book.
That's the language, face-to-face contact.
I read the book.
Well, this is a surprise. This is a surprise exam stage.
It's a pop quiz.
I want y'all to know I got
You should ask for some reward
I'm telling you, I
from the person who invited you to the meeting.
just want y'all to know that.
She probably has a good supply of candy in her office.
I do.
She's a trainer, right? She probably gives out that candy as a grooming technique, right?
So some of this, because I don't want to get stuck in processes, right? We're talking about at least one home visit. That's not necessarily the case. We
Yeah,
require
two.
2.
Okay,
So that's what we require. is
Yeah, let's
2.
just fix the big glaring things, just do 2. And then we're gonna let the rest go up because we know that there are so many different things that can happen. We'll fix these slides to kind of imply that. So we can get through this pretty quickly.
Yeah, the teaming process, I don't know what that is. That part, I don't know what that is.
It's actually a separate process altogether that happens outside the group, I believe. So
No, there's 2 different. So you talk about things being used synonymously. That's actually something, because we have a teaming and intake that's specific for our staff. And then we have teamings that happen at the executive level. And then we have the teamings that happen with IOC transition.
Okay.
Right? So that's used in many different ways.
Yeah.
So I
Gotcha.
guess we need to know which one you need.
Well, considering that this was written before I arrived, I could probably agree with you.
Yeah, and the child safety
Yeah.
conferences will only schedule if a child is unsafe. That's not true.
Right. They just changed that, so.
Yeah, that's not true.
Okay, that's changed.
Uh-huh.
That's true. So many things may have changed since this was created. I think we ran into that earlier too, that some things have changed.
So what is it that needs to be
So I would
Next
just
thing
take
we
out
figure
that
out.
whole language. They attend the seeming conferences because the intervals will be different. And it's dependent upon the situation. So rather than attaching to a specific interval or incident or whatever, I would just take it out. They attend the seeming conferences, period.
Yeah. But I don't understand. I'm sorry. Safety assessment form triggers teaming unit process.
Well, that's not
It-
true either.
Yeah.
That's not true either.
Yeah, because they're talking about the ongoing investigation. That sounds like it's
It
intake.
sounds like every investigation,
It's
right?
not true.
Yeah. So that could be taken out as well. Because I don't know what. I mean, unless.
It doesn't always trigger.
So it says depends.
So I would say intake worker attends teaming conferences in accordance to the, IOC transition policy or whatever the name of the policy is. So in accordance to the policy and period, because the circumstances will change, policy will change, right? So this way it captures it all and just take out the first bullet altogether.
Got it. Perfect. And we will move on. Because we know we're looking for processes we're going to be talking about later. Glaring errors will fix. The rest of it we're going to come back to in a different way anyway. So let's.
So the one thing that consistent language kind of gets me is this ongoing investigation. Right? Is there a reason why you guys put ongoing? Because the investigation, we use ongoing, we think of ongoing services, right? We think of our interventions post-investigation. So maybe it can just be investigation. After the investigation has been completed.
We can. I don't know that it matters right here because one of the things we will ask and we will talk about later is how do you know
It does matter.
How do you know when your process ends? And that's how. So that's.
Well,
It
so
doesn't.
that the phrase concluding safety is after the ongoing
Investigation
investigation.
makes it sound like it's still going on.
Right.
So after the investigation has been completed, we're talking about past. or at least the completion of the investigation and then the completion of the form.
We need your conclusion safety assessment to
In
actually
order to do
complete
that,
the
yeah.
To make a determination.
Yeah, in order to do it.
So maybe it could be reversed.
Yeah, it definitely has to be reversed.
Okay, where are we at?
Just
Answer.
after concluding safety assessment.
Yeah. Upon completion of the
Yeah.
concluding safety assessment, the
Got it.
investigation will be determined and disposed.
This is almost like
What?
a PDF.
Yeah.
It's
Depends
like
on
nothing's
where-
happening.
Depends on where
Yeah.
they cut and paste it
And-
from.
Right.
So this whole box of
Right,
referral for
wrong.
services is wrong. That doesn't
Doesn't-
make any sense.
You can't have a single
Okay,
case.
so can we flip, no, instead of trying to change this, if it's difficult to edit this particular slide, maybe we can just switch over and make a note and then we can, oh, we got it. Never mind.
Because just like everything else, we couldn't make that referral before the conference.
No.
You know what I mean?
It triggers the conference.
Right.
Right,
That's what I'm
the
saying, it
referral.
triggers the conference. But the conference used to be triggered from the safety assessment, at least ideally, but it didn't really
The
happen.
safety conference.
No, it didn't really happen.
Someone's just trying to
That's
catch
what
us.
it's supposed to happen.
Someone's just trying to catch us from with all
Which
these
is why we go with
inconsistencies.
policy.
All right, so
Probably so.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely could be. I'm not gonna go.
Oh, base 40. Oh, come on. No, that's the best.
And the referral for placement
Yeah, that's
services
cool.
would have occurred before we
Before.
even got to the team.
Right.
So that
Okay,
decision
so
is
it's
not
basically
made
the
at
outcome of
that
the
time.
team is, just delete the whole box.
Well,
Yeah,
no.
I mean, you could just leave it as a placeholder and we can give you the real language, but
There you go.
that's done.
Well, that first bullet goes, sort
Yeah, the
of.
first bullet's got it.
That's got to go.
But we did the
Both
chain
the-
committees
right.
review the referrals. So
That's correct. Currently, in-home services is still being provided.
That's
by-
true too.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, okay.
Customer referrals, customer referrals don't go to
No.
transition unit at all, right?
No.
Placement
CRU.
referrals.
So placement referrals are assigned to CRU. Take off the transition unit.
Yeah.
You could say for your CRU for processing.
This just doesn't figure out.
It does suggest that to me sometimes. Let's just take it all out.
How far are we in this slide presentation?
We're in page 40 of 46.
Okay, go for it. Go for it, and then we'll take it for you.
Skip.
It's good, go on. Okay, concluding, and this is the last part, concluding. Take a good look at this piece, and then I'm going to go over it.
Teaming. Did I miss? Okay, I'll be quiet.
Also,
Transition
that's
should be 20 days.
typically the 20-day conference. But the 20-day conferences are not happening.
In 20
It-
days.
they're not, it's not happening.
Okay,
so-
oh, they're using.
So
So
we're
I
just-
never used that term before, transition conference. Okay, I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
so using the generic term transition conference is probably better than labeling it 20 days because they're not, that's not an accurate
Well, they did
reflection
it
of what
all in 20
happened.
days.
Although in a again, we'll,
You know, they say the investigation is 60 days. You got 60 days. If they want to call it 20 days, then you need to be held accountable.
Intake supervisor reconciles case parties.
do you guys do that?
Where at?
Reconcile
I mean,
the
if-
case parties?
Normally, the workers
So
have
the
to
workers
do it
do
before they
that.
can submit it to us.
Yeah, the workers
Like,
do that.
for approval, they have to reconcile the parties before they can submit.
Submit
for
the, right,
Yeah.
submit
God
for
bless you.
approval. Bless you.
Right, so the worker needs to do that, not the supervisor, and that last bullet's completely out. You don't scan anything.
Right,
But you can put it in a paper record if you want to do that. So all of case documentation is placed in case file. That's
Yeah, that's paper copy stored in case records. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't scan anything. And that may be what you guys want us to do in the future, but we're trying not to.
Maybe there's a way we can do it so you don't have to do either.
We're trying not to do it.
And there isn't a transition conference where the case is transferred to OSR, only to court.
Yeah, only Nakua, right? Absolutely.
Ah.
Yeah, so you gotta take that out.
Take out OSR. You don't have it.
Oh, I get fired tomorrow.
You're gonna get fired tomorrow, you think? What's in that Diet Pepsi bottle?
It's like when you first you're accused Sam, right? like I just saw this and I'm
I should be
like,
doing
oh,
stand-up comedy, shouldn't I?
I was just gonna say that, Frank. I think maybe you can help us.
there's something I gotta do about
Every once in a
tomorrow.
while he comes
Stress management, there you go.
The last one is okay. I mean,
Yeah, the last one's fine. That's according to the state law. However, we don't really adhere to the guidelines to that.
As much as
As much,
possible.
yeah. We're supposed to do CPS within 30 and 60